Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Declan, and if you enjoy talking about films in any way, shape or form, you're going to feel right at home here. In today's video we're going to be doing another movie news update and also a bit of TV news in this one, as we have some really exciting developments going over at HBO Max in regards to who's going to be producing some new television, and we also have a brand new trailer from filmmaker Josh Trank, who has kind of emerged from the shadows after being gone for many years. So let's jump into it. So let's start off with the news regarding HBO Max, which is the new streaming service coming from HBO, and they have officially announced yesterday that they are going to be bringing on J.J. Abrams and his production studio, Bad Robot, to produce some new TV series for the service. And the ones that they've teased and spoken about so far are really exciting. But what they've said about J.J. and bringing him on board is what could be better than an original JJ idea, and then Warner Brothers letting them loose on iconic IPs from Stephen King and the DC Universe, and to provide more must-having programming on HBO Max. And that comes from the Chief Content Officer Kevin Riley about Bad Robot and their 3 new shows arriving on HBO Max. This is really exciting news. J.J. Abrams is a brilliant producer. He does do a lot of great work, both behind the camera as well as a director, and I'm sure he's going to have, his fingers are going to be in all of these pies basically in regards to these shows, which I think is really exciting, because JJ, I just really like a lot of the work that he does, whether you look at the Star Trek movies or even, The Force Awakens and even The Rise of Skywalker, which I really like. I know it's not a most popular Star Wars movie, but I really enjoyed The Rise of Skywalker. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think JJ just has this nick for a lot of really exciting projects, and obviously he's also produced on the Mission Impossible movies, which I also love. He just really knows how to pick his projects well, and when you look at the shows that they're kind of looking to produce for HBO Max, it does really get me excited about, really delving into HBO Max as a streaming service. Even though, I'm from the UK, we don't have HBO here, we're probably not going to get these shows, we're definitely not going to get HBO Max. They may get filtered onto other things, like maybe we'll get them on Netflix or Amazon Prime or something over here in the UK, but either way, they are really selling the streaming service with these new shows. So first up, we have a brand new series called Duster, which is going to be written by J.J. Abrams himself and also LaToya Morgan. And the description of the series is as follows, which is: the series will be set in the 1970s Southwest and follow the life of a gusty getaway driver for a growing crime syndicate which goes awfully to wildly, stupidly, dangerously awful. So this sounds obviously very interesting. This is a brand new kind of crime thriller series coming from J.J. Abrams, and he's going to be writing this one himself. So as I said, he's going to have his fingers in a lot of these different pies, and this one seems to be his most creative force going forward. He seems to be the most involved in this one. This is obviously a brand new original series. This isn't something that he is, borrowing from another IP. This is an original idea. And I think this could be really cool. I mean, it's set in the 70s. We don't really get that era much, especially in the crime genre, so I think that could be a really interesting aspect to kind of go for. And also, just the idea of, like, this kind of... It sounds kind of fun and kind of quirky. I'm kind of getting a bit more of, like, a... It's kind of a bad comparison, but kind of a Baby Driver vibe coming off of that description alone. So I think with those elements coming together, it could be really fun. We are also getting a brand new series called The Overlook, which is going to be a spin-off series from The Shining, and this is going to focus on the terrifying, untold stories of the famous hotel from The Shining. This is the most interesting one for me. I found this a very surprising announcement. I think that, The Shining obviously is an incredible horror film. I mean, I watched it for the first time fairly recently, just before the release of Dr. Sleep, and I watched it and I was absolutely floored by it. It still holds up today. It's a brilliant horror film, a true masterpiece within the genre, and I thought that, me coming into The Shining, I didn't expect to like it anywhere near as much as I did. I thought I'd be able to appreciate it, but wouldn't particularly enjoy it that much. I loved The Shining. I thought it was amazing. But things that have gone on since The Shining have not exactly been the best. I mean, we got the 90s movie, which Stephen King obviously is not happy with Stanley Kubrick's version of The Shining. He made his own version of the film, and by all accounts, I've not seen it myself, but by all accounts, it was pretty crap and not even anywhere close to the original. And then we also got Dr. Sleep, as I said, which is obviously the film adaptation of the sequel novel. And while a lot of people did like Dr. Sleep, I know a lot of people really enjoyed it. A lot of people thought it was like a modern horror masterpiece and, could hold it up to The Shining as a good sequel to The Shining. Me, personally, I did not like Dr. Sleep. I thought it was really bad, and just really relied on just purely nostalgia. Like, the first half of the movie I thought was alright. I didn't mind it as much in the first half, and it was just kind of, we're following Danny Torrance and his life and catching up with him. I didn't mind that as such, and the villains were pretty cool, but the third act really ruined that movie for me, because they literally just ripped off the ending of The Shining, so I was like, this is just kind of, I'm done. But them doing an Overlook series, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I'm kind of like, it could be cool, it could be interesting, depending on what they do with it, but it's just one of those things where, again, everything they've done with The Shining since the release of the original film just hasn't been very good, in my opinion. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I should be excited for this. It's something that could be really cool if they do it as like self-isolated stories. I could see them doing like that, almost like an anthology series. I think that could work, but again, it just depends on how good it is. I mean, with JJ, you've got talent, but we're just going to have to wait and see at this point. And the final announcement that we got regarding HBO Max was that J.J. Abrams and Bad Robot were going to be developing a Justice League Dark series for the service. Now, this is really cool. Justice League Dark is a project that has been floating around Hollywood for many years now. Originally on the very first DC Extended Universe slate that came out back in 2014, they announced a Justice League Dark film with Guillermo del Toro set to direct, which was a perfect choice. But unfortunately that film, it just fell through, it never went anywhere. And they've just been things that they've been trying to do, like there was a Constantine TV series that they did a few years ago, which was cancelled after one season. Last year we got the Swamp Thing series on the DC Universe streaming service, which was cancelled before the first season even finished. So it's just been a very dodgy property to actually kind of get off the ground. Now, this series, I think, could go the mile, given, again, the talent behind it. I mean, you say that, I mean, Del Toro was behind it originally, but that was also Warner Brothers in DC, and we know what the DCU is like. This could be something different. I think a TV series for Justice League Dark could actually work better than a movie, just because of the type of characters that they are. They're not exactly big cinematic characters. They're quite small scale, and even though they are fairly CGI heavy, most of them, it seems like they would fit better on TV. I didn't watch the Swamp Thing series. I will watch it at some point. It is on Amazon Prime here in the UK, so I am going to watch it. But I think that that sort of TV style could work well in Swamp Thing and also in Justice League Dark. My main question when it comes to Justice League Dark is, who are they going to cast? Because obviously you've got currently a Constantine. You have Matt Ryan, who played him in the Constantine TV series. He also currently plays him in the Arrowverse on Legends of Tomorrow. And I think Matt Ryan is such a brilliant casting for Constantine. Like, he's up there with people like John Bernthal's The Punisher for me in regards to, like, perfect comic book casting. I'm not saying he's, like, an absolutely amazing actor or anything. He's just so good as Constantine. It kind of makes me think that you should just cast him because he's so good in the role, and why would you get anybody else? The only problem when you cast Matt Ryan is that you are essentially linking this Justice League Dark series into the Arrowverse, which I don't think J.J. Abrams is going to want to do. I don't think they're going to want to connect these DC HBO series, because we know we're also getting a Green Lantern series as well. The second season of Doom Patrol is coming to HBO Max. There's also a Strange Adventures series coming to HBO Max as well. I don't think they're going to want to connect these series to the Arrowverse, given the fact that the Arrowverse is so big and so expansive already. I think that they just want to do their own thing with this and just focus, especially because HBO are kind of known for their really high quality, really, you know, good storytelling. And as much as I love the Arrowverse and I enjoy those shows, that's not really what they are about. So I think that they're going to want to really focus on it and make it their own thing and not connect it to the Arrowverse. And that is probably why they won't cast Matt Ryan, and probably why they won't cast the actor who played Swamp Thing in this series as well, if Swamp Thing is in this iteration of the Justice League Dark. I don't think they're going to do that. So I think we're going to see its own interpretation, its own castings, which is really exciting. It's really exciting when a new actor gets announced to play a character who, you know, another actor has been playing for a long time. So I am very excited to see who they're going to cast as Constantine. If you have any of your own fan castings for Constantine, leave them in the comments down below. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts, or also just any castings for any of the members of the Justice League Dark. Let me know. But out of these three announcements, Justice League Dark is easily the one I'm most excited about. Obviously, I am a DC fan, and I've been waiting for Justice League Dark to really get a interpretation in live action. So this could be really cool if it actually goes ahead and it actually happens. And I think that this is a big, big selling point for HBO Max. And the other thing I wanted to talk about in today's movie news update is I really wanted to talk about the new trailer for Capone, which is the new film from Josh Trank. Now, if you don't remember who Josh Trank was, he was the director of the 2015 Fantastic Four reboot for Fox, and obviously that's pretty self-explanatory. That film was a critical bomb, it was a financial bomb, people hated it, it was terrible, and Josh Trank was essentially barred from the cinematic community. Rumour had it he was being eyed up by Disney to direct a Boba Fett film, but that eventually fell through once they realised what a mess Fantastic Four was. Now, in defence of Josh Trank, I would like to say I actually think Josh Trank has a lot of talent. Based on what I've seen from his film Chronicle, it looks really great. I actually own it on Blu-ray, I've not seen it yet, but I've always wanted to watch it because it looks awesome. It looks like a really great low-budget kind of take on the superhero genre, which I really am interested in. And Fantastic Four, well, yes, it's not a good movie. There's a lot in it that actually had a lot of potential. I really like a lot of the ideas in Fantastic Four. And I think that had the studio not interfered and actually let Josh do his thing, I think we could have had something really interesting there. Whether it was a good Fantastic Four movie, or would have been a good Fantastic Four movie, is a different question altogether, but it would have been something interesting nonetheless. So anyway, Josh Trank was essentially barred from the community, and he's now come back doing this new biopic about Al Capone starring Tom Hardy. Now, I've seen the trailer, and it looks really cool. I actually really like the look of this. I mean, Al Capone is a very interesting character in history. Of course, he's a big gangster in America, and this is actually interesting because it's taking place in the last years of his life. I thought this was going to be something where it was taking place in his prime, it was going to be, we're going to see Al Capone as he was in his prime doing his thing. But it's not really like that. This is actually a lot more at the end of his life and an investigation into it, almost Irishman style, which I think is really cool. And Tom Hardy looks absolutely brilliant in the role. It kind of reminds me of his role as the Cray twins in Legend. That was also kind of a similar performance to what he's doing here. I think that's a really cool aspect to go for. And this movie looks really well directed. It looks really well handled. The script looks really good. I think that this movie could come across as something really cool and really interesting, and a really good biopic as well. I'm quite a big fan of biopics, so I think that this could be really good. And I think that Josh Trank, again, he's proven himself that he is talented. He's a good director. So I think that him finally being allowed to make a movie like this is really good. Now, this movie is slated to come out in June, which obviously is risky because of the cinemas and stuff like that. They may not be open by then. Probably not. I'm predicting they won't be open by then. So I did see a report yesterday that it is likely this film will come out straight to VOD, which, I mean, sure, it could happen. I mean, I also think the studio, I can't remember who the studio is behind this, but I imagine that the studio will probably be fine with this going to VOD, given the fact that it is Josh Trank. And, Fantastic Four didn't exactly do well. But I think that this movie, I think you guys should support it, because there's actually some really cool stuff going on here. And again, Josh Trank, I'm a bit of a defender of Josh Trank. Like, especially, when I read the situations about what happened behind the scenes and stuff like that, it's a very two-way situation between him and Fox. I think they were both in the wrong in multiple different situations. But I think that Josh Trank, he just kind of got sick of the overbearing nature of the studio. And I think that with this, he was clearly able to make something of his own. And I think that you should support that and really go and check it out. And if you haven't seen the trailer, make sure you go and do so. I'll leave a link in the comments down below or in the description down below. Go check out the trailer, because it's something really interesting. And I think you may actually be surprised by how cool it looks. But anyway, what did you guys think about today's news? Make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What show are you most excited about for HBO Max? Are you convinced about the streaming service? And which show are you most looking forward to? And also, what did you think of the trailer of Capone? Well, if you've seen it, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, guys, if you want to see more movie and TV reviews and videos just like this one, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload from me. And I hope to see you guys again next time.